People and projects. Hi, I'm JT. Thank you so much for listening. I'm honored today to have LaKendra Tookes. LaKendra, we are talking about downtown Cincinnati, Van Gogh Immersive Experience. I've not been there. I just met the folks at Exhibition Hub they had Titanic Immersive just not too long ago.
Right.
I went through that. That was pretty impressive. And what a neat facility. And Van Gogh. Now, this experience was actually in Cincinnati back in 22,
Mhm.
and it's coming back again this weekend. So I understand you've been there, and honored to have you here, LaKendra.
Um,
By the way, you've been on SNL. You're an SNL writer?
I was an SNL writer, and that was a really actually that was probably no, that was my first job kind of in the biz.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was a dream job of mine. As a little girl, I had Gilda Radner paper dolls. I'm giving away my age now, but I had Gilda Radner paper dolls as a little girl. So I think on some levels, my mother knew that her daughter was going to grow up to be a ham, and I did. So here we are today, and that is why I really feel like as a creative person. I really getting to see the Van Gogh exhibition for the first time. I really resonated with him as being a creative person. You're a creative person too, JT. You know, when we're doing things like this and you're putting yourself out there and you're kind of opening yourself up to criticism, it can sometimes take its toll on you. And
Yeah.
May, we're coming on the tail end of May, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think it is important to talk about that when we talk about somebody like Van Gogh, because he was around during a time when we didn't have the language, we didn't have the diagnosis, we didn't have the medication. Back in those days, they just threw you in an asylum. They threw him in an asylum, and he was able to channel a lot of his anguish and turmoil into beautiful creative art. And I think that is a message that still resonates with us today. And I really hope, I know for me, it made me think about myself as a creative person in a different way, because I'm my worst critic. Like when other
Sure.
people
Yeah. Yeah.
critique me, I'm like, yeah, I know. I already said that to myself this morning, but I think it's important to, no matter what kind of art or gift it is that you have to share, I think it's important to get it out there no matter what. Because there's going to be people who love it. There's going to be people who hate it. I always say there's people who hate ice cream. Do you think ice cream cares? You think ice cream's going to quit being delicious just because some people don't like it? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you're right.
so
Yep.
I really, for me, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, JT, because you were saying, you and I were actually agreeing that we're not exactly art experts.
Right. Unfortunately, no.
No, but I'm telling you, JT, I want you to call me after you go through the exhibition. I think you're gonna be wearing a beret. You're gonna have a little one of those long cigarettes. Like, I know what I'm talking about now, because the experience really, I feel like it's more than a museum. Because at a museum, I actually sometimes ask somebody who's not an art expert, nothing against museums, I don't always like to go, because sometimes I'm like, I don't feel qualified to be here, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But what I love about this exhibition, especially for people like us who are not necessarily art experts, it's not just you looking at it, it's you kind of like, you're stepping inside the art, you're stepping inside the world, and you're stepping inside the mind of Van Gogh a little bit, which I found to be really
Yeah.
interesting. And I walked away. I didn't like. I walked in just feeling like, oh, cool, whatever. I'm going to see some art. But I walked away feeling really affected by it. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a great facility, downtown Cincinnati. Just heads up, if you're heading there though, parking is an issue at this particular one. You got to plan ahead and get parking. But when you get there, what a neat! This is not like any other museum. This is yeah, immersive is really the word.
Yes,
Um,
we actually have an immersive room, which I love this room. Now my favorite room at first glance, because I'm a girly girl, and Van Gogh was known for his sunflowers and his floral artwork. So there's a sunflower room. And of course, when I walked into the sunflower room, I'm a girly girl. I'm loving it. There's sunflowers. I'm like, I want one of these in my house, which I love it. And But then when you go into the immersive room, it's really floor to ceiling art, and there's music. There's an original score that was created specifically for this exhibition. We were able to get transcripts of letters that Van Gogh had written to his brother and his friends while he was locked away in the institution. And we have a reading of those letters. It's actually really powerful to hear, some of his words. And in his letters, that was another outlet for his pain and for his suffering and for him to be able to share it with others. But I'm telling you, honestly, JT, I was just so inspired. And I just really I hope that's really the takeaway from this, as no matter what you're going through, you could channel that into something beautiful and positive that will affect the world long after you're gone. And I really hope that Mr. Van Gogh is somewhere looking down and saying, wow, I may have, the short time I was on this earth might have been tough. However, look at what I was able to create and how it's still impacting people hundreds of years later.
Yeah. A lot of our audience, we're a Christian station. So a lot of people, will know that side of the world. But, it's interesting to know that Van Gogh was a preacher's kid. I did not know that. He was a preacher's kid, and
Yeah.
he dealt with the same issues we do,
A
and
PK.
struggled through and found faith and found inspiration to share.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, the
yeah,
pressure, the
right.
pressure of being a
Yep.
PK.
Yes.
I'm not a
Yep.
PK, but my daddy thinks he's a preacher sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
So
hey, that's a dad thing. We all have to preach a little bit.
yeah, and you know what? When he's in the mood to preach, I put myself on mute and I just let him preach. And I just take it all in, and at the end I say amen. but
Yeah.
um but no, the pressure, the pressure
Sure.
of having so much to live up to, and then you pair that with, I don't know, but I'm going to assume that Van Gogh was probably a little bit of a weird kid, maybe a little bit misunderstood. A lot of creative
Sure.
people are
Yep.
misunderstood, and it's hard
Yep.
for creative people to find their footing and to find their audience and to find their place. And I think when you pair that with the pressure of being a PK, or all of us have parents, our parents put a lot of pressure on us. I mean, I
Sure.
think that's part of being
Yeah.
a good parent.
Yeah.
Um, but again, to be able to, and especially for the things that gosh, we got a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. And I feel bad for people who don't have faith, because I feel like, what would I do if I didn't have something outside of myself to believe in and to give me hope? I'd probably be in the asylum too,
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I think
Yep.
that's an important message
Yeah.
to take away from something like this as well. And I think it's so important, for us as believers. I think it's important to find the God in everything we do. And I think especially in any type of art, any type of beauty, how can you not see God in that?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Now, I understand the technology is part of this immersive experience. Talk a little bit about your experience with the tech at
Yes.
Immersive Van Gogh.
Okay, because obviously Van Gogh didn't have access to this technology. All he really had was his paintbrush and some paint and a canvas. That's all he really had. However, I think the technology pairs so well here, especially in that immersive room that we were talking about on the video, the VR room. The VR experience is so cool. And I mean, I'm not a video game person at all. Giving away my age again, I had an Atari. So I'm not a video game person, but I know this VR stuff. The kids love it. And the Van Gogh experience, it's got the VR room. It kind of takes you on a journey through Van Gogh's life, through his life story. And I really love how in this exhibition, that's what I love about Exhibition Hub. You mentioned that Titanic had been in this same venue in the past. They really know how to bring these images to life. So it's like we're getting the storytelling, we're getting the art, and then the technology that we are fortunate enough to have today just brings it to a grander scheme. Again,
Yeah.
a little bit more than simply going to the museum and seeing the painting on the wall, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with going to a museum and seeing a painting on the wall. I
Right.
love that.
Yeah.
But again, for somebody like me and somebody like
Yeah.
you, JT, we're not.
Yeah.
I'm not an art aficionado. Okay,
Right.
no one has ever said, "Will you please come be our curator?" No one's ever like asked me to do that.
Right.
But
Right.
I think it really is going to. I think it's going to kind of awaken the artist within a lot of people like us who are not necessarily art aficionados. And I think there's sometimes the technology of today gets on my nerves. However, I think it's really, really cool when we can take the technology of today, pair it with the beautiful art of history, and bring it to something that's going to resonate even with kids today. I mean, this is recommended for all ages, 3 and up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I was down there at the Titanic event, the
Mhm.
immersive Titanic, and the facility is amazing. They Exhibition Hub, you guys do an absolutely phenomenal job of telling the story of the artist and the inspiration, and just I will be going, and I'm not an art aficionado, so
No,
you know I
I
cannot wait to be there.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm excited for you to see it, JT, because I like I was telling you, I actually we did the Van Gogh exhibition in Denver as well. We've done it a few places throughout the country, and the feedback has really just been incredible. And also, just for me as a creative person, I truly walked away feeling inspired, which I think is in and of itself
yeah,
worth it to just
yeah,
go see something different, put the phone down, turn off the news, and just go be whisked away into some beautiful art by someone who really knew or figured out a way to channel that pain into
yeah,
something
yeah.
beautiful. And I really do hope that inspires people, because I know a lot of people are struggling. It's a tough time right now.
Yep, yep,
It's a tough
yep.
time. I know a lot of people are struggling. So when we look back on this tough time for us, what good things were born out of these tough times? And I hope that a lot of people can channel the fear and the worry and the anxiety. I hope that we all could be inspired by Van Gogh to channel that into something positive. You never know. You really could make a difference.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, if folks are interested, vangoghexpo.com
Yes.
/Cincinnati if you want to get just to the close stuff. But
Yes.
yeah, very cool. Right downtown Cincinnati this weekend, in place and starting. Yeah. So
Yes.
excited.
Very.
I I have a grandson who loves to draw. I mean, ironically, now he's an athlete and does all that too, but he loves to draw. I plan on taking him.
You got
This
to
could
take it.
this could
How
be a
old is
fun
he?
trip. Yeah.
How
So
old is he?
fourth grade. Fourth
Okay.
grade.
Oh, he's a big
Yeah.
boy. Yes,
Oh
you
yeah.
have to take. He's gonna
Yeah.
love it. And I
Yeah.
think, I mean, like I said, it's 3 and up, but I feel like a fourth grader, he's probably already been learning about art at school and things like
Yeah.
that. I say definitely, if you've got a creative or an artistic child, they will love this. And there's the immersive room, there's the sunflower room, but then there's fun kid stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, your grandson, he might be a big boy. I don't know if he colors anymore, but there's definitely fun little ways for kids to get in and be artistic as well. There's different stations. I do believe it's at least 12 rooms at least.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
definitely something for everybody there. And I think your grandson will really love it. And that's what I love about these exhibitions too. They're so great for kids, adults, people of all ages, and it's a great activity for grandfather, grandson. You guys are gonna have a lot of fun.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
LaKendra, thank you for your time today, and thank you so much for bringing Van Gogh Immersive to Cincinnati. We appreciate all your involvement and help, and I'm excited to go. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you. By the way, how's the podcast going?
Oh my goodness, my podcast, Tookes Takes, available wherever you like to get your
Uh-huh.
podcast. It's going great. We are talking about, as I told you, JT, we're talking about very important, hard-hitting news, like everything that's happening on the Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Real Housewives of Rhode Island and other. See, that's what I love about my podcast. I love to escape. I
There you
I
go.
can't
Yep.
I can't watch. I bury my head in the sand probably more than I should. But for me, I do call reality TV Housewives Bravo, I call it my sports. So I consider my podcast kind of like ESPN for those of us who love reality TV. And we have a lot of fun. It's my baby. It's it's my creative outlet. And there are times when no matter what's going on in the world, I have to figure out a way to say it in a way that's fun and funny, put my own little spin on it. And that's what I love about having my podcast. It's my creative outlet.
I love it. LaKendra Tookes, thank you so much. We're honored. And next time you're in Cincinnati, we'll do lunch. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, I'm coming over.
Take care.